Hello, people. We're back. Hey, let me say hello. Everybody says I never say hello. Hey, it's Blackjack. I love working on guitars. We got something special on the bench today. We're going to take a look at it. Let's go for a ride. Bear with me. So this is my brother's guitar. He lives in Indianapolis, and when we were kids, we grew up with Kiss, and he took it way farther than I ever did, although I'm a Kiss fan, and I'm not afraid to admit it. Great rock and roll band, put a lot of theatrics into the rock and roll show. In fact, they wrote the book on a lot of it. But he took it way farther than I ever did, and he's a collector, or had been a collector in a previous life, let's put it that way. And he's got all kinds of memorabilia, and all Kiss fans know, collecting Kiss stuff is a never-ending saga. But he got this guitar from a guy who claims that Paul Stanley actually owned and played this guitar in the late 70s, which would have been, I guess, somewhere around 77 to 79, or 77 to 78 is the time frame that he gave me. Insert tour era for those Kiss fanatics out there watching. It's an Ibanez Iceman. There are no serial numbers on this guitar. I've looked. I haven't taken it completely apart, but I did a little bit of research and talked with some people who are very knowledgeable about guitars and said, if there's no serial numbers on it, it's possible that it could have been a prototype, and that it's possible that Paul Stanley could have played it. As Paul Stanley in the inlay here, I don't think that I don't know enough about him, but I don't think that the inlays actually had his name. I mean, up here on the truss rod cover, yeah, it's got his signature type thing up there. This guitar is in a ratty mess. We're going to knock all the strings off of it. I've done a preliminary checkout. We got some boogered, who knows when, tried to adjust string height or saddle or intonation or all of the above, has really whopped out and just boogered these flathead slots. Now, I'm going to try to get the camera to pick this up. There's actually a nut down in there, and then once you loosen the nut, I don't know if it'll pick that up, probably not. You loosen the nut, and then you can put a screwdriver to raise or lower the bridge. The stop bar is similar to Gibson. This is a similar design to the Tune-O-Matic, but far more complex. The saddles are all grungy and nasty. Corrosion all over the guitar. It looks like a guitar that is 40 or 50, late 70s, I guess 40-something years old. Frets are all munched up and corroding. Now, I've got my regular array of tools. I'm going to check some measurements on it, neck relief, string height, pickup height. But I have another one here. This is a straight edge. It's for checking for high frets. It's a straight edge, and it's hard, and you put it on there, and you put it on 3 frets, and you rock it. And if it rocks on 3 frets, then you got a high fret somewhere. And I wouldn't be there's one right there. I wouldn't be even a little bit surprised if I find some high frets or low frets or whatever. Especially on a guitar this old, and judging by whoever was working on this damn thing, didn't know what they were doing. So we're going to get into some of that. We're going to knock the strings off of it. I actually put a set of strings on this guitar a year ago just to make it play, and I made some sort of adjustments, but I'm not happy with that. And since I have a lull in my regular workload, I'm going to dive into this guitar. So before we do that, Amazon was here, yay, and I had some comments about the tools that I have been using to power tune guitars. In other words, take strings off, put strings on, and I've been using a regular DeWalt, and because my old string winder went the way of the dodo bird. So stand by. We're going to open this up and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back. In previous videos you've seen me use a DeWalt regular screw gun, and that's because I had one of these before and it died. It finally lived its life cycle. I've done thousands of tuning pegs with it, so I got a new one, and I love these little things. They go just the right speed. They're not going to over twist these things. They fit. Sorry about that. Someone likes me. They fit every kind of tuning peg. Bass, guitar, it doesn't matter. It will do every kind of tuning peg. I've yet to find one that it would not do. I also, and I have touted this company before, Music Nomad. Let me see if I can get it in the movie, Music Nomad. And this one happens to be, I use many of their products, from paint and finish products to just spray wax to keep them clean and wipe out, DNA off the finish. But I love this product. I've started to use more and more and more of their product. This one is a fret polisher, which we're going to get to on this because some of these are really tarnished badly, and which leads us to this, which I really was digging on. I've had these tools before where you lay them on the fret, but not with a handle. The handle is so cool. I love that. Music Nomad, check them out. Now, instead of holding just the metal part and grinding on the, doing whatever work you need to do on each fret, and there's a million of them, now you have a handle, and it's so much easier. So we're going to try these out on this guitar for the first time. And they send you a neat little cloth and stuff in there. I don't know if I'll ever use that because I use cloths and I throw them right away, because as you're taking grunge off of these instruments and trying to wipe something else, all you're doing is transferring dirt from one end of the guitar to the other. So I use microfiber paper towels, automotive actually, and they work awesome. So that's my product endorsement so far. And by the way, they don't pay me to do this. I buy this stuff. They do not endorse me in any way, shape, or manner. But I love their products. In fact, I took my old neck stand, which I built and had been using it for a million years and still do. Leather is your friend. This one is really cool. It was at the NAMM show. I picked up on it and I bought one, and I'll tell you, for a few dollars, the thing is cool. It's got, for a high, flat neck, acoustics. You can turn it a million different ways and get any kind of angle that you want on a guitar while you're working on it, or restringing it at home if that's what you're doing. Okay, so we're going to move on. I want to knock the strings off. Well, first, before I do that, I'm going to take some baseline measurements and see where we're at from before, but probably we're going to have to knock the strings off and then get in here and get that neck set straight, because as I said, once I get the strings off, I'm going to get into this, for lack of a better term, fuckery, because there's some shit going on here that I don't like, and I want to get it sorted out sooner or later. So, as I always start with neck relief. I want to see how far this neck is bent from the last time that I attempted to adjust it. Let's just take a look. Get in the movie, body joint, capo at the 1st fret, and then we're going to 12 thousandths at the 7th fret. And it's really loose. It's really loose. It's way too loose. And that is probably due to humidity. Because that is not where I would have left it. But it's been a year since I worked on this guitar, a long time. So basically that means that the neck is too much in a relaxed state. The strings are bringing it to too much of a bend. Should be easily adjustable. I don't remember what happened with the last time that I was in to check the truss rod, but we're going to get to that. The next thing is, just for giggles, let's check the string height and the pickup height. At the 12th fret, we are at, actually not that bad, a little over 4. I would say this is a Gibson style setup is what I probably would have put it at. And right at 4. It's probably a little tiny bit tall. So we know the neck is too relaxed. It's in a banana. We know that the strings probably aren't that bad. It's probably playable, and that's probably why I left it this way, because this is such a mess. But let's go on to the next thing, just for shits and giggles. Yep, that's about where Blackjack would have left it, and that's where I did leave it. So that's easy enough. Okay. It has its own type of locking tuners on it. I'm sure that I probably left them loose because I don't trust these things. I never have. But let's just see. Loose. Yeah, I left them loose. I don't see any reason to lock down the tuners, because guitars need to be tuned regularly, unless you're playing it every day. And even if you are playing it every day, guitars need to be tuned. What's the point in locking it down? I just never understood that. That's me. I'm a little bit different. What do they say on the back here? Ibanez patent number. Oh, is that a patent pending or patent number? Patent pending. So, well, that is a vintage thing then, and probably was from way back in the day. Let us use our new old tool and get these strings off of here. Off you come. They're a year old. I've played this guitar every once in a blue moon, but only because it's my brother's guitar, and I feel like if I don't play it once in a while, I'm not doing something. So we don't need to cut those because they come right off. Yep, Ernie Ball power peg is what they call it. The Ernie Ball power peg, and it works like a charm. It's got a two-way trigger on it. Up, takes them off. Depends on which way you're trying to turn your tuning peg. I'm all out of there. Yeah, I can feel them. They're corroded and nasty. That's good. We'll get them off there. We'll deal with this as it comes, as we do on every guitar. And I've said in many tutorials, videos, whatever you want to call what I do, unless you're ready to set your neck relief and know how to do that, do not take all your strings off all at once at home. If you're going to restring your guitar, I don't care what kind of guitar you have, a bass or a guitar, or if it's a ukulele, do one string at a time until you get comfortable with it. Unless you know how to adjust neck relief, because once you knock all the string tension off of here, that neck is really going to do some weird things. So be careful. Do them one at a time if you're going to do it yourself. We're going to delve deep into this guitar, so I'm taking them all off. And then, of course, my best laid plans will be interrupted when other guitars hit the shop and need my attention. But today, this is our puppy. Alright, they're all off of there. Now, I'm happy to see that all the saddles are facing in the right direction, with the bevel going this way, and the tuner to do your intonation screws are facing towards the back, which is the direction that they're supposed to face, not towards the pickup. This is an age-old debate, but this is the way I like it. The intonation screws facing towards the stop bar. That way you can get a screw in there. If they were facing this way and you had strings on there, you wouldn't be able to get at it because the pickup is in the way. This way, this is always going to be a little bit higher than your stop bar, so you can get in there with a screwdriver and adjust your intonation, which is the distance between the nut and the saddle. This thing's a little loose, but that doesn't mean anything. Next, let us sight down the neck. It is still in a relaxed, it's still in a banana, so I'm going to get this off and set it in a straight condition because I have no string tension on it. I think this guitar might be what my brother thinks it is, and the guy that sold it to him said it was. It's entirely possible that this was actually owned by a rock star, and that it was played on a tour at some point. Okay, let's be too easy if it. Oh yeah, because I've been working on an Epiphone in my previous videos. I know some of you have seen that. I have a several part series on an early 60s hollow body 12-string Epiphone made in Kalamazoo, Michigan, not a Japanese, Asian knockoff. No, a real guitar, and it uses the same adjustment that this one does. That's why I say this guitar is very similar with the pickups, the bridge, the stop bar, everything. The way it's set up is really a lot like a Gibson, and kind of makes sense because in the early days of Kiss, which we were talking about earlier, they used to have on the back of their albums, Kiss is sponsored by and only plays Gibson guitars and Pearl drums. Well, that was probably their first sponsor, and they got money to go out on tour in those early days. So when Paul Stanley decided, I'm going to make my own kind of guitar, he probably had it built up to similar specifications that a Gibson would be, because a Gibson is such a, iconic guitar, and they're built like tanks. Set neck, it's not bolted in. This is not a cheap guitar. I think this guitar may have some problems. Okay, so we're a little bit this way. I'm going to tighten it, which is left is loose, which is going to make it bow even more, right to the right is going to make it come a little bit straighter, and that's what we're going to aim for, to the right. And it's a little tight. Well, it doesn't mind loosening up, but it's giving me some trouble tightening up. But it did straighten right out, because without any string tension on it, it had a bow in it. And I'm sighting down each side, and I'll tell you, the frets don't look bad. There's no wobbling or messing around down here, and this is where usually you get it on a Gibson style, or Ibanez in this case. You'll get where the neck is set into the body like concrete. You'll get a little bit of wobbling down here, so that's good news. But we did not get a lot of adjustment out of that. That thing really tightened up a lot, and I'm not going to force it any farther, because I took the bend down, put it straight, where even after we took the strings off, there was still a little banana in it. So I think once we get done with what we're going to do, we should have enough adjustment to get good neck relief. So, that being said, to get my tool out of there, let me just look in there and refresh my memory. I know I'm not in the movie, and I hate when that happens. Let me pull down here slightly so you can see what I'm looking at, which is in here, which is where the truss rod nut is. A bunch of goop in there, but that's not abnormal. I can see some pieces from when the guitar was built. There's still some compound, buffing compound, but the stop, the nut, the truss rod all seem to be working correctly, and that is good news. I think we can bring this guitar, just like everything I try to work on. My main goal is to get it to a playing state. If my brother wants to sell it and it turns out to be a $5,000 collector piece, well, God bless him. But we're going to do some cleanup on it. It's got a lot of action on it, gig action I would call it, because it's been played. Some of the frets are a little bit worn, especially down here in the business end, not so much up here. So he's probably a rhythm player, not so much a lead player, and I would kind of go with the story that comes along with this guitar. This is the business end. This is where all the money is made in playing guitar. Got some other problems. There's a little rubber thing that goes around the knobs. This one's missing it, and half of the knob is broken off. Not worried about that. Let's plug it in before we stop this video and make sure that the pickups are working and the pickup selector is doing what it's supposed to do. And that is easy enough. Seems tight. Turn them up. Turn the tone all the way down. These are probably pickup volumes, and this is probably going to be our tone for both. That is what I'm guessing. And there's no dial to tell you if you're all the way up. Oh, what am I doing? Get out of there. Need this one. Plug an amp in and see if it makes noise. Alright, where are we at? Oh. Well, we have them both up. They're barely working. In the middle position, You should. I hear noise coming out, but I think we got a messed up switch here. Oh yeah. So the tone is working on the bridge pickup. The neck pickup. The bridge pickup is working, but that's the volume for the bridge pickup, and the tone is working. Rhythm, which would be the neck pickup. Volume and tone are working. When we're in the middle, which should be both of these working, we are not getting any bridge pickup. You can see that wasn't working a few seconds ago, and now it is. Which tells me yeah, we got something going on here. In the middle position, unless somebody's gotten in there and wired it differently, when you're in the middle position on your pickup selector, it should be playing both of these. Whether it's wired like a 50s or whatever, which I doubt, not in the age group of this guitar. Yeah, something is not happening here. I think we got a bad switch here, because it works in the regular position but not in the middle. Okay, we got something else we have to delve into. Should probably start taking notes. So I'm back. I like to make notes because I know this is not going to be a finish it in one sitting, and this video is getting a little long. So I made notes on what I found so far, meaning the munched up frets, the boogered up bridge nuts and or screws, that we found a problem with the pickup selector middle position. It is not working in the bridge pickup, although the bridge pickup works in its regular state. I think we're going to leave it there. We're going to probably do several videos on this guitar, and we're going to bring it back to life as I like to do. I love to work on guitars. My name is Blackjack, and we'll see you soon.